Boo, Lawrence Hive.
You're listening to the Morning Punch-In Show with RB and J, live and direct from more cities than an Instagram model's bio. Get ready for some boxing talk on the clock. Let's face it, you're not working and somebody's got to pay for the Wi-Fi.
Lawrence Hive is possessing this switchboard. Boo.
Good morning, everybody. It is RB and J. This is the Morning Punch-In Show, the most unpredictable, unscripted, but always real morning boxing talk show in the game. Today is Monday, August 7th, 2017. Our guest on the hotline blink today is no other than the IBF welterweight champion, Errol Spence Jr. Let me properly introduce my partner in crime, creator and founder of ThatCulture.net, Jay LaBeouf. What's good, Jay? How are you?
Good morning, RB, and good morning, listeners. We are back for another Monday morning of boxing talk. Thank you for rocking with us last week on Wednesday. We appreciate you. You still came out in the same big numbers that you come out on a Monday, so that's dope. Salute to the listeners. Salute to the tweeters. Even when you're mad at us, you still show up for us, so that's dope. Today, the hot question. The hot question today was actually a poll that RB posed on her social media, and boy, you guys really have some responses. When I last looked last night, we were up to 434 votes cast on RB's poll. And the poll question is, Tim Bradley, who we know recently announced his retirement this weekend on Saturday night, Sunday morning, depending on where you are. Tim Bradley, five-time world champion, announced his retirement. In 5 years, should Tim Bradley be a Hall of Fame ballot shoe-in? Of the 434 votes cast, 56% of you say yes, and 44% of you say no. Just to give you a couple of the responses from those of you who participated in the poll, here's what some of you had to say. Real Ray Sanchez says, arguably lost each of his big wins, so I'd say nah. But considering guys like Gaddy are in, it would be crazy if he doesn't. I think he means doesn't. It got cut off. Boogie Down Sean says, anyone thinks otherwise is a fool. Dre Cade says, people forgot he was a monster at 140. At D. Can Guider says, LOL, no, his biggest quote-unquote win is what, an old Marquez?
That was a great performance.
That was he gave Marquez that work. Marquez was in shape, and he wasn't that old. At AA215, Bradley was a top fighter for sure and definitely a Hall of Famer. Only lost to one fighter his entire career. At SLO Greg says the first ballot will be loaded. Might take him an extra year or two, but he should definitely get in. At 915AD says, yeah, he fought the best and he had the heart of a lion. The definition of a warrior and a fighter. At Chelo Fonts 23 says, I don't think he's done enough. He was good but not great, but also didn't move the sport or make a major impact in, for example, De La Hoya. At Steve_A_G says, won't say Bradley is a Hall of Famer, but was very good. Damn. And at Split B Boxing says, very good career, but not legendary in my opinion. But we will give our personal opinions on the Bradley Hall of Fame topic later in the show. But you guys really had a lot to say. I'm sure if I went back and checked again in the next few minutes, there's probably 400 more responses. So we thank you for participating, and we'll talk more about it later in the show. Back to you, RB.
All right. Yeah, that very good poll, and it did seem to be split almost 50-50. You know, people feel one way or the other about it. We're going to get Jake Donovan's take on it. Jay, we'll get yours and mine, and we'll see how that shakes out. A lot of guys really retiring. Anyway, let's go and recap some fights from this past weekend. We have Errol Spence calling in at the 30-minute mark, so make sure you guys hang on there around 8:30 Pacific time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Errol Spence Jr. will be calling in. If we have time for some Know It or Blow It today, we're going to play, and you can win a free gift from 4ama.com. Call 718-508-9852. Press 1 so we know that you want to play Know It or Blow It. Jay, this weekend, let's breeze through the fights. Let's start with Friday night on ESPN. Golden Boy had a card. Mauricio Herrera outpointed Jesus Soto Karass in a crossroads war. Keeping true to his promise, Golden Boy delivered another really good show on ESPN. The two Mexican warriors really sacrificed everything. They left it all in the ring. They proved me wrong. When they announced this fight, I was kind of looking at it a little side-eyed, like, really, Herrera, Soto Karass. Last time I saw Soto Karass, he looked like he was about done, but absolutely not. They were kind of made for each other. The 10th round is going to be a strong candidate for round of the year. Herrera did get the majority decision, went to the scorecards. He wants to be back in 2 months. Jesus Soto Karass feels like an injustice was committed. He felt like he actually won the fight. And he also mentioned he lost like 40 pounds to make that weight. So holy crap, he must have been like running on empty. Anyway, good matchup. Kudos to Robert Diaz and Eric Gomez and those guys for proving me wrong. I'm eating crow.
Yeah, definitely very highly contested. I thought it was going to be a battle of two really aging, really worn guys, but they went out there and they put on a show and they threw punches and bunches for the whole fight. They finished off strong. It makes me wonder if they're going to set them up for a rematch just because it was so competitive. Maybe they're the new Rios Mike Alvarado. Maybe we might see a trilogy, but in 2 months turnaround, that was a very big blow-laden fight. So 2 months, in my opinion, is a little quick to turn around for Mauricio Herrera, but congratulations to him because his last outing did not look good. He kind of stunk it up and took the L. Same for Soto Karass, 40 pounds loss, wow, and still performed like that after spending most of the camp losing weight. Congratulations to them on a great event. Congratulations to Golden Boy, and they're keeping the ball rolling with delivering great matchups.
Yeah, man, it was really good. I was definitely shocked that it was that good. In the co-feature, we had Shabransky, who took on this Philly fighter named May. I don't know who he is, and I know a lot of Philly fighters. But anyway, he took back his USNBC light heavyweight title and scored the 7th round knockout over Todd Two Guns May. Let's go to Detroit, Michigan. There wasn't too much to talk about that fight. Detroit, Michigan, on ShoBox, Clarissa Shields battered Nikki Adler in 5 rounds for the WBC and the IBF titles. She crushed this girl. Crushed her.
It was ridiculous. It got to the point where I started feeling sorry for Adler. Clarissa Shields just battered that girl like target practice. She went to work from every angle. She landed so many blows at this point. At some points during the fight, it just made me think of Mia St. John and Christy Martin, where she was just kind of drilling her like a speed bag. Wow. Steve Farhood made a great point during the broadcast that that weight division is not very broad. There's something like 32 fighters in the world at that weight class. But at the same time, she's probably better than 31 of them, or 30 until we see her fight against Christina Hammer. But wow, Clarissa Shields did what she needed to do.
There was some good fun banter in the ring afterwards with Shields and Hammer. I'd actually like to see Clarissa Shields versus Cornejo. I believe they're in the same weight class, 160, 168. I mean, that's a good fight right there.
They definitely can make it happen. Cornejo has a growing fan base. Clarissa Shields has her fan base. They're both based in the U.S. They could make it happen. They could do it in Detroit, they could do it in Detroit. They could do it in L.A. They could do it anywhere, really. I sign me up.
If you don't know who Cornejo is, you could follow her on Twitter at Maricela La Diva. She's from L.A. She trains with Joelle Diaz. She's the girl that weighs in with the red Baywatch-looking swimsuit. She's like really hot Mexican. That would be a good fight. I would really love to see Shields and Cornejo in the future. Let's move to Saturday night. Let's go back to California. Lomachenko breaks down, drops, stops Mariaga in 7 rounds. It was total domination. Mariaga was so overmatched. At times, Jay, I felt like I was watching like Lomachenko's shadow box. Like I felt like I was watching a sparring session a couple times. I mean, that's kind of what it looked like he was doing. There was times where it looked like he was doing mitt work. Like if Mariaga was his trainer, and he was just like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Like it looked like he was doing mitt work. He's so good, and he frustrates so many fighters that he almost just makes them quit. We saw it with Nicholas Walters. We saw it with Mariaga. You know, they don't have answers for him. They can't make adjustments with him. They eventually just have to throw in the towel because they can't do anything else with him. I mean, he's that high tech.
He was amazing. The biggest problem I see with who he's faced so far is, since he's so strong and he throws so many punches, they spend so many time in the high guard with their hands up that they can't see what they're doing. So it just allows him to come at them from different angles. I would have liked to have seen him throw a few uppercuts in there. But if you can't see what your guy is doing, you can't defend against it. It's just going to take that one guy with a tough chin who's not afraid to drop his guard and exchange with him or counter with him to make a little more headway, like Salido. Salido isn't afraid to get hit. But everybody else, from that point on that he's faced, he was just able to completely dominate because he's so strong and he's so fast. And I think everyone in front of him has been intimidated by that. Not afraid of him, but just intimidated by getting hit. Look, at one point, Lomachenko just stood there and was like, dude, hit me. He let him hit him. He shook his ass at him, and then he knocked his ass on the canvas. I said, wow, this is amazing. I love it. I love that. Lomachenko clearly was going to win that fight. We knew he was going to win that fight. But I just appreciate the fact that he's not trying to be nice about it. Everybody can't be the nice guy. And Lomachenko is not the nice guy. I can dig it. You need bad guys sometime in a sport.
Some people were very 50-50 on the showboating. When he did it, I kind of laughed. You know, I was like, oh, shit. But when I looked at my Twitter and people who were there at the fight, they were like, why is he doing all that? Like, he's fighting this guy who's overmatched. Like, just finish him already. So some people really enjoyed the showboating and others didn't. Why don't you tweet me and Jay and let us know how you feel about the taunting and the showboating that Lomachenko was doing. I think he just wanted a fight. Like, he wanted to do the fight. He wanted, like, some entertainment. I don't necessarily think he was trying to be, like, cocky about it. I think he wanted to fight. I think he was telling him, like, bring it. I mean, he even backed up into the corner, like, come on. You know, I think he wanted to give the fans more. Well, anyway, per Steve Kim, Bob Arum mentioned that Lomachenko could be back December 9th at the Madison Square Garden in New York or on December 23rd, and that would be on ESPN. Options are Rigondeaux, Salido, and Birchlet.
Hey, let's get Salido Rig. Let's leave Birchlet out of it. Give us the Salido rematch or give us the Rigondeaux. Ooh, Bob would be sick if Rigondeaux defeated Lomachenko on ESPN, but that's going to be a great, great matchup. One thing that I did hear after the fight, shout out to Fight Hype, they picked up this video. Somebody asked Freddie Roach, who was ringside for the fight, how he felt about Lomachenko's performance. He said he wasn't impressed. I'm like, come on, Freddie, don't be salty. You know that boy good. Come on now. But the one thing I will say about, back to the showboating, the one thing I will say about that is don't showboat so much that you mess around and accidentally get cut. That was the only thing. He had so much fun showboating, and that's how he messed around and got a cut. So he just has to be careful. Even in the most formidable fighters, cuts could end careers. So just be a little careful, Lomachenko. But other than that, I'm with it.
Well, I know one thing. Bob Arum is like the promoter of a lifetime. Can he promote a fighter? After the fight, he said, Lomachenko is a throwback to Muhammad Ali. I was like, woo! All right. I like Lomachenko, too. That's a huge comparison there, but Bob Arum knows how to sell a fight. He knows how to sell a fighter. In the co-feature, we got to get Jake on for Jake's take here. In the co-feature, Ray Beltran earned a majority decision over Brian Vasquez. Beltran battered through some nasty cuts, some nasty blood, earned the majority decision. Give that man a big fight. Give that man his green card already. I mean, come on.
Right. I think he earned it. Wow, that was a tough fight for Ray. That was a really competitive matchup. I thought that his competitor moving up to fight him and not making weight would make the the fight less interesting or less competitive to watch, but it really turned out to be a great performance that Ray almost lost at the bell. If that final bell hadn't come when it did, we would have had a totally different outcome. And it was really, really good to see a good, strong lead into the main event. So kudos for that matchup, too. It was way better than I thought it would be.
Indeed. Well, Jay, why don't we take a commercial break, and then why don't we come back for Jake's Take with Jake Donovan?
Let's do it.
Any vehicle, any age, any mileage. With Nationwide Auto Warranties, you will stop paying unexpected costly repair bills and let an extended auto warranty pay. Go to nationwideautowarranties.com for an instant email quote or call 1-866-352-4999 for a free no-obligation phone quote. So stop paying and let Nationwide Auto Warranties get you your coverage today. Again, that number is 1-866-352-4999 or visit nationwideautowarranties.com.
It's a night of boxing royalty you won't want to miss. This is James Smith from In This Corner TV. The Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame will be holding its 5th annual induction ceremony on August the 12th in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas. Many of the legends of the sport, past and present, will be on hand for this charity event, and you will want to be right there with them. For more information about this amazing event, please go to nvbhof.com. Tickets are on sale now.
You're rocking with the Morning Punching Show with RB and J, and now it's time for Jake's Take.
That always brightens up my Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
RB and J. How are you?
We hear Jake Donovan.
Wow. Yes, Jakey. Listen, we want to jump right into it. We did a poll last night on social media about Tim Bradley. As everyone knows, he announced his retirement on Saturday. 5-time world champ announced his retirement, has done a lot in boxing. We want to know, Jake, do you think Tim Bradley is a shoo-in first ballot in the Hall of Fame in 5 years?
I'm going to say this. In the sense of, like, when you think of, like, the moment a fighter retires, he's in the Hall of Fame, no, I do not. Do I think he'll eventually get in the Hall of Fame? Yes. Will I vote for him to get into the Hall of Fame? Most likely, yes. It's going to depend on who lands on the ballot the first year he's in it. There's still some guys, in my opinion, that need to get in. And he's already on a ballot with Bernard Hopkins, so he's already a very distant second. If Shane Mosley never fights again, he's kind of a distant third on that ballot. And for the moment, only 3 people per year get into the Hall of Fame. So I think people are kind of jumping the gun when it comes to Tim Bradley as far as being a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. My other problem with those claiming he's a shoo-in, I don't recall these conversations taking place in 2013. And if you think about it, that was really his last major win. I mean, he beat Juan Manuel Marquez, and that seems to be the win everybody's pointing to where they say that clinched his Hall of Fame status. I don't recall those talks coming 4 years ago. I mean, maybe adding on the wins over Brandon Rios and Jesse Vargas kind of enhanced that Hall of Fame status, but it just seemed like it's kind of like, Tupac was never the greatest rapper of all time up until Tupac, left this earth. So I don't, I don't know. He's a great fighter. I don't think he's an elite fighter, but he's definitely one of the classiest fighters of our generation. It would be my honor and pleasure to vote for him in the Hall of Fame. But he's not like a Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Bernard Hopkins, type, slam dunk, 5 years, he's automatically in.
Ooh, I couldn't agree with you more. I like Tim Bradley. I love that, he always showed a lot of character in the game. But let's talk about, what were some of his biggest wins? Who did he fight? Who did he beat? Who didn't he fight in this era? And I think that will kind of help us be really unbiased about this, whether we love him or we don't as a fighter. So between the 3 of us, what do you think was his biggest win? Jay, let's start with you, Jay. Tim Bradley's biggest win.
I think his biggest wins came when he fought at 140, when he was just kind of steamrolling through everybody, and he had the ability to fight people on both sides of the street. As he moved up to 147, he became the victim of the politics of boxing, and he did probably some of the matches he would have liked. So that's always a factor when considering someone going into the Hall of Fame, but it's not as if he ducked them or he refused to fight. Just the powers that be didn't permit him to make the fights happen. So that's going to be something to consider, too, when he gets to that point where he wants to take the ride in New York and people question his Hall of Fame status. He became a victim of the politics of the sport, like so many fighters of this era will. So in terms of his biggest wins, he had so many good victories at 140 because he was just steamrolling people that were supposed to be the top of the division, that all those wins, Holt and all the guys he was beating at that time, Holt, Devin Alexander, Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson is still at the top of the division at 147, so those are all great wins for him.
Jake, who do you think his biggest win was against?
Obviously Marquez is the biggest win of his career, unless you want to count the first fight with Manny Pacquiao, which, nobody really wants to, because very few, if anyone, had him win in that fight.
It was so tainted, yeah.
It was, but, granted, it's on his record as a win, so, and people are going to sell it. So he has 2 wins over Hall of Famers. But, at 140, his first title, he went to England, beat Junior Witter, beat him handily. Mm-hmm. That fight wasn't even competitive, and Witter was considered the best 140-pound fighter in the world at the time. He was supposed to school Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley, I think it was his first fight out of California, as a matter of fact. And he just absolutely played with him. And then the Kendall Holt fight, that's one of my favorites because that kind of gave us the first glimpse of who Tim Bradley became. He beat Kendall Holt convincingly, except, he had a lot of trouble early and a lot of trouble late. That just showed, how good Tim Bradley was, but yet also how vulnerable he could be in any given fight. As you said, Lamont Peterson, that's a win that really stood the test of time. Because, look at Lamont, Lamont Peterson has a welterweight title today. I think Kendall Holt went on to win another title after he beat Tim Bradley, if I'm not mistaken. The only fight that didn't happen at 140 that I felt should have, and I didn't like that it didn't happen, was Amir Khan. That fight would have absolutely determined, 140-pound supremacy. I didn't like the fact that they left that on the table. I didn't know if it was an issue between Gary Shaw and Golden Boy. I don't remember, it being that political at the time. It just seemed like a fight that could have happened, but then, Bradley decided he ended up moving on to Top Rank and moved up to, before Casamayor. After that, then moved up to 147. So I'd say that's the only asterisk on his 140-pound reign. At welterweight, it was just, that's when Tim Bradley became fun to watch. Just because he was so vulnerable, he was always the smaller guy in these fights.
Yeah. So I agree, Jake. I think his biggest win was Juan Manuel Marquez. I would love to say it was Manny Pacquiao, but the fight was so tainted because of the judging. A lot of people consider it a gift. I don't want to take that win from him, but I am going to say that Marquez was his biggest win. Yeah. He did fight and beat the guys, like you said, Kendall Holt, Lamont Peterson, Ruslan, Devin Alexander when he was undefeated and when he was the shit. Jesse Vargas, who was not an easy fight for nobody at 147. But who didn't he fight? There's a lot of misses in this era that he didn't get in the ring with, like a Danny Garcia, a Keith Thurman, a Floyd Mayweather, a Sean Porter. I would have loved to have seen him fight those kind of guys. I'm not sure if he's a first ballot shoo-in either. I do think he'll get in, but the shoo-ins for me are Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Bernard Hopkins. It's like no question. As soon as they retire, they're going to be a first ballot shoo-in 5 years. I don't think Tim Bradley is, but he has shown amazing character his entire career. He made a lot of money, and I'll say this, it's really nice to see a fighter ride off into the sunset on his terms instead of letting the ring retire him.
Yeah, I agree 100%, RB. I love the fact that he sat ringside, called the Manny Pacquiao-Jeff Horn fight, and recognized, what he saw in Manny Pacquiao. This is a guy who has 2 convincing wins over him and probably should have been 3-0 over him. And, he realized, okay, this is what Manny looks like today. And even if he did deserve to win that fight against Jeff Horn, he didn't look like Manny Pacquiao anymore. And I think Tim realized that. A fight with Jose Ramirez wasn't going to get him out of bed, So, like I said, Tim Bradley's character, I think, is what a lot of people factor into when they say he's a Hall of Famer. And I'm fine with that. People want to say, they love his career and the fact that he's a super nice guy. That's fine by me. I got no problem with anyone voting that way.
I agree. Well, he does say now that he wants to dedicate himself to commentary. So let's talk about the ESPN card that Top Rank did on Saturday night, where Tim Bradley and Teddy Atlas were doing the commentary. There was a lot of issues with that show. It started out being super delayed because of the NFL Hall of Fame induction speeches, and we were, we had to turn to ESPN 2. The production was kind of iffy. I mean, the commentary, how many times, did we have to hear Teddy Atlas say, "Water in the basement"? I mean, it was like, what do we think about the ESPN overall show Saturday night? We'll start with Jake, and then we'll get to Jay.
Okay, I'm going to say this. I'm just going to start with ESPN as a whole. A lot of people say if ESPN wanted to, they could truly run boxing. And they showed it with the first, Top Rank boxing on the ESPN show. I mean, they had an entire fight week dedicated to Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn. They were thrilled to be involved in a Manny Pacquiao event. Every day was featured. They had Steve Levy and Stephen A. Smith, opening up the lights on SportsCenter just to, tune into this show. We didn't get that same commitment, with this fight. I think a lot of people suspected that to be the case, but it just seemed like that was a one-and-done commitment. I don't get that the commitment is there. And here's where I'm going to compare it. When they have Monday Night Football, they have a room full of experts. They have a room full of NFL experts, Hall of Fame level players who are analyzing the game before the game begins. Then they have NFL talent on air calling the game. Then they go back to the studio with more NFL experts, giving their giving their take on the game. We're not getting that with boxing. I'm going to be honest. I don't think any boxing fan needs Stephen A. Smith or Steve Levy telling us anything about boxing. We need them telling us about boxing as much as they need me explaining hockey to them. It's just tiring. I mean, and the fact that, I get that Stephen A. Smith is a name. I mean, but you look at the preliminary ratings for the show, Stephen A. Smith brought absolutely nothing to the broadcast. He interviewed a fighter who's fighting on the network in 2 weeks and admitted he's never seen him, in the ring before. How the hell are you not going to know anything about your subject? He did the same thing a month ago. Give me the names of the judges. How the hell do you not know the names of the judges for a Manny Pacquiao fight? You're in the studio for 8 hours. This is information that should be absolutely at your fingertips already.
You're right. You're right.
That's my problem. ESPN, there's just like too much of a cartoon element, and that leads me to Teddy Atlas, and sadly, it's carrying over to Tim, because Tim almost feels compelled to laugh at every single Teddy Atlas joke, because Tim is such a nice guy. He doesn't want to start a fight with him on air, but it's tiring, and I feel bad for a guy like Joe Tessitore, who's the consummate professional and who just wants to call it straight, and you got to deal with all this shtick. And then you get Stephen A. Smith with his, nonsense, where it's not boxing anymore. It's the Stephen A. Smith show featuring boxing.
Let me tell you, me and Jay, we actually prep all week here and there for the Morning Punch-In show. On Sundays, we're prepping, we're doing research, we're putting things together. Like, we'd be mortified to come on air and not know what the hell we were talking about. And we're just RB&J. We have a podcast. Could you imagine if we were on ESPN, Jay? I mean, could you imagine if we had a bigger platform? I would be paranoid to go on air or on TV and not know what the F I was talking about.
Hey, I'm going to give you 3 more names of people who always come prepared to every boxing event. 2 of them are boxing boxing personalities, Rafe Bartholomew and Dan Raphael. I mean, Dan Raphael is the most identifiable boxing writer in the world. He's an ESPN writer. Why the hell is he not involved in these shows instead of Stephen A. Smith? Why is Rafe Bartholomew not on these shows? On the Top Rank side, there's no one more prepared than Christina Poncher, who has a fantastic TV personality. Why is she not on air yet? This is Top Rank's show.
That's right.
Why are we getting these ESPN personalities who admittedly know very little about boxing? We have boxing resources at our fingertips. We have the ability to move the needle on the sport. It's time to make a change. And what bothers me the most is they had Stephen A. Smith when Manny Pacquiao fought Jesse Vargas. They knew he brought nothing to the table, and yet he's still involved in this show. It's mind-blowing.
His agent is amazing. I need his agent.
I'll tell you what, somebody that Stephen A. Smith kept mentioning on the broadcast, like at least 5-6 times, was Gervonta Davis. I mean, he was, he's like, he should get the fight. No, he shouldn't get the fight. He's young. No, he should get. I mean, he was like all over the place, but he really had his pom-poms out for Tank. So Tank got a lot of love on the ESPN broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, well, that goes, with Stephen A. Smith, with his love of Floyd Mayweather. Floyd's going to say, hey, keep mentioning my guy on here. That's fantastic. Now all we need is the Tank to say, I want to fight this guy, and not complain about his ticket sales and that he's a crybaby in the ring. Then we'll finally get the fights we want.
Yeah, absolutely. judging, I didn't hear the broadcast since I was at the fight, but judging by the tenor from Twitter and what people were tweeting, Twitter was not happy with the ESPN portion of the broadcast. There was a lot of, from the delays to the Teddy Atlas cliches. I feel sorry for Tim Bradley sometimes. I'm glad he didn't have to do the call on the air with Stephen A. because I'm just waiting for Tim to just go ahead and run him a fade because he's so disrespectful to Tim, trying to out-knowledge him on a sport that he has very little knowledge on. Kudos to Tim Bradley for wanting to take his career in that direction post-retirement, but if they continue to do the broadcast that way, they have to put more people who actually know about boxing on the broadcast. Joe Tessitore's over there doing Battle of Network Stars. You got Stephen A. Everybody, Stephen A. is not going to appeal to every single person. And I think it's just really disrespectful. I'm surprised Bob is very outspoken when he doesn't like something. And I'm very surprised that he hasn't gone publicly and said, why is this asshole calling my fight? He doesn't know shit about boxing. I'm surprised we haven't heard Bob say that yet.
Well, and you know why, and this goes back to being one of the best promoters of all time. He knows that screening A. Smith brings a lot of color. He brings a lot of controversy. People are going to talk about him whether he's saying something knowledgeable or not. So everybody's talking, whether it's good or bad, and Bob knows it. He probably knows that Smith knows nothing, but he does create the reaction. He has us all talking about him and what he's doing. So, I'm sure that's why Bob's probably quiet about the whole thing. But, what was funny on the broadcast was, ESPN was having a lot of issues, and the whole crew had to work around a lot of stuff. And Teddy Atlas said, you guys in the truck need to do a better job. And I thought that was so funny because only Teddy Atlas could have said that.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. But other than that, I'm enjoying the fact that boxing is being presented on a bigger platform, but at the same time, we have to be mindful that putting boxing on a bigger platform, there is more pressure and more eyes to do it properly. And with all the time delays, it goes back to the Friday night fight delays. If we want to present our product to the public to gain more eyes on the product, then the product needs to be delivered correctly, because people get frustrated, and we just saw a microcosm on Twitter with where's the fight set? Why I got to switch a dish channel? I pay my cable. Somebody tweeted, I pay my cable bill. Why I got to watch the fight on an app? So those are all things to consider when they have their meeting on Monday mornings after the fight to debrief on what they could do better. Those are just some things to consider. Let us not sacrifice the quality of the product just for the bigger platform. So, but ESPN, still rocking with you. We need as many eyes on the sport as possible. Jake Donovan, always a pleasure. Remind the folks who fell asleep during the middle part of the show where they can find you and how they can follow you on Twitter.
Absolutely. At Twitter, at Jake in the Box, and FightNights.com is where I presently write.
All right. Thank you, Jake Donovan, for another great installment of Jake's Take, and we'll talk with you next week.
All right. Thank you very much, RB&J. Always my favorite Monday.
All right, take care.
For all the latest news, interviews, and boxing schedules, visit BoxingInsider.com, providing readers with everything from the latest fight schedules to interviews with your favorite boxers. BoxingInsider.com has you covered from top to bottom. BoxingInsider.com is looking for new writers. Think you have what it takes to join the team? Submit your articles to our team at info@BoxingInsider.com. Visit BoxingInsider.com today, the only boxing website where you become the fifth man in the corner.
And we are back. Welcome to the Morning Punching Show with RB&J. It's now time for a hotline bling, so why don't we bring on today's guest? 469, who are we speaking to and where are you calling from?
What's up? This is Errol from Dallas.
What's
up, going
EJ?
on, Errol?
Not much. Just got up.
That's terrific. It's good to talk to you. It's been a while since we had a chance to talk to you on the show. I noticed I saw you on the Breakfast Club last week. I've seen you on the broadcast, and it looks like you're getting more comfortable talking on camera. When we last spoke, you were kind of shy. Is it getting easier for you to do all these kind of media obligations in these interviews now?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm not really shy. I'm just a man of few words. I don't really talk that much, so I really don't be having much to say.
Do you find now, since you are the champion, for those who clearly fell asleep, he's the current IBF welterweight champion. Do you feel like you have to talk more now? Because people are always going to seek you out, but do you feel like you have to talk more just to make sure people know you there and you ready?
Yeah. I mean, it's an obligation being a world champion that you got to talk more, and you have to say more. And of course, if you want the big fights, then you have to speak on it, so it'll happen, and the people know that you want these fights.
Speaking of talking about fights, I watched the Breakfast Club interview, and I pulled out some points that I wanted to ask you about since we knew you were coming on. One thing that we hear fighters say a lot is they won't fight people that they have relationships with, or, those type of fights are just off the table. But you said that you don't care if you're friends or not. You are okay with fighting people that you know. Who do you think are some fighters that you have relationships with that you can foresee matches with on the horizon? Not just guys but somebody you'd actually dap if you passed them in the hallway.
I mean, it's a lot of guys, because, just being in the amateur system, you grow up going to training camps and being in Olympic training centers with a lot of these fighters, so you grow relationships with them, like Sean Porter, Adrian Bronner. There's so many names that I can name from 140 all the way up to 154. The guys that I got relationships with them through the amateurs and just being in training camps with them, and spending time with them. So it's a lot of guys.
Looking at some of those fights in the 140 to 154 range, I know the last time, it's been quite a while since we had a chance to talk to you, a fight that you said before that you wanted was the Pacquiao fight. Now that we're on the other side of his fight against Jeff Horn, that he came up short, is that a fight that is still meaningful to you as we see kind of where Pacquiao is at in his career? And how did you see the fight? What did you think of the ending of it?
I only watched it one time, but I thought Pacquiao won. It was a close fight. With that being so close, it could have went to Jeff Horn's side, knowing it's in Australia. But I thought Pacquiao won the fight, but Jeff Horn did come on strong in the later rounds. But I thought Pacquiao won, and it's a fight that I still would take if it's brought to the table. Pacquiao, he's a Hall of Fame fighter, still has a huge name. That still be a big name on my resume.
That makes sense. So let's talk about your next fight then. We've been hearing you talk about wanting to fight in Dallas. So what is next? What's coming up for you? Could we see you fighting in Dallas soon? And can you give us a time frame on when you can be back in the ring?
It should be late October or early.
Late October or earlier, is that what you said? Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Are you there? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right,
late October, either early November. They're trying to find out right now if that's possible. Trying to look for a right opponent to fight in Dallas. If not, then I'll fight either at the Barclays Center or a big city like that. But like I told everybody else, if a big name guy pops up and he don't want to come to Dallas, then I'm more than welcome to not fight in Dallas and fighting somewhere else.
Yeah, and I do know that your sights are set higher. So I know you rather have, a bigger name and a bigger fight, rather than just getting, like a showcase in Dallas. I think we know that about you. We've heard you call out Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman and like all the guys at the top of your division. We don't see a lot of people do that anymore. They refer to their manager, their promoter, and you're just really vocal about wanting to fight the best. So how active can we expect you to be this year? Like, what's it going to take to make it happen where we get to see you like 2 or 3 times a year? Because I think that's what we're missing is like we want more Errol Spence. Hello?
Uh-oh. Did we lose him? All
Hello?
right. Errol, you still with us? Okay, we got you back. It looks like you dropped there.
Did you hear my question?
Nah, what'd you say?
Okay, I was saying that, you know, we see you and we hear you calling out the big names. We know that you want to be active. What is it going to take to keep you active? Because I think that's what we're all missing, is that we want to see more Errol Spence. We want to see you like 2 or 3 times a year.
I guess it's just, I mean, I really don't know. I think it's more the big name fighters. They don't, you know, they're not as active. Like Danny Garcia, he's not as active, and the other big name fighters not as active. So, I mean, it's hard to get those fights. I mean, I've been out for 9 months, so, and I feel like a real ring rush. And I told Al that I want to fight, you know, more often, because I feel like, you know, it affects me when I'm out the ring. And he said, you know, we're going to work on that. And, you know, next year I should be fighting 3 times a year. So we'll see.
That's good. That's good. So let's put money to the side. I feel like legacy is also very important to you, and I can't say that about a lot of fighters in boxing, but there are a few of you being one of them, that all put the money to the side. I feel like legacy is important to you, and you're willing to make big fights to get there, even if it means like maybe fighting elsewhere. Is that true? How important is legacy to you?
Legacy is big to me. I mean, that's, you know, the main reason, you know, I'm in boxing is for my legacy. Of course, you know, the money to make sure my family's good, but, you know, legacy is a main priority for me, and that's what I want. I want to clear out the welterweight division. I want to be the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. So for me to do that is for me to fight the best fighters out there, and that's what I've been trying to do, calling out the biggest names at my division so I can get those fights.
Right. There's some upcoming fights that may or may not be on your radar as a fan and maybe as a future opponent. So is there anything on the boxing schedule that you're really looking forward to? Any upcoming fights that you really have your eye on?
The biggest fight right now I have my eye on.
I think he's breaking up.
You hear me?
Yeah,
Yep, now
there
we're
we go.
And I'm looking forward to is the Canelo and Triple G fight. You know, I feel like, you know, I'm a fan of Canelo. I like his style. I like the way he fight. You know, they making Triple G to have to be this monster. You know, I think Canelo beats him.
I do too. So you're not looking forward to Mayweather McGregor first?
I mean, I already know the outcome. Probably already know the outcome of that one. I think, you know, the Floyd should stop him. If Floyd really, you know, put his mind to it, he can stop him. But you know, that'll be entertaining. You know, more entertainment than anything. But you know, as fight wise, you know, I'm looking forward to Canelo Triple G.
All right. Listen, earlier today, before we let you go, we asked everybody on social media and everyone listening, with Tim Bradley announcing his retirement, is he a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame? Do you consider him a Hall of Fame fighter?
I think so. I mean, they put I think Arturo Gotti's in the Hall of Fame, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think so. Timothy Bradley, his resume is long and vast. You know, he fought all the best fighters out there. You know, I don't think Tim Bradley ducked anyone in his division. He fought the best. He beat the best. So I think, you know, he's a shoo-in Hall of Famer, definitely, with his resume.
We know that you're a bit of a boxing historian, and we know that you really watch boxing. So if you could give me your top 5 welterweights of all time in your division, who are the 5 that you watch the most when you're watching film, or that you considered all-time greats?
All-time greats. Well, my personal favorites that I watch personally, probably Terry Norris. Who else?
I know you're a bit of a historian. Come on.
I watched a lot of Ray Leonard. So it only have to be welterweights?
Well, yeah, I kind of wanted to know, like, who were your top 5 welterweights of all time. But go ahead. You can give us some other guys that you watch.
All right. I watched a lot of Jerry McCullum. Pernell Whitaker, and who else? Marvin Hagler.
That's a formidable list of guys. So we will keep those in mind. So the next time we watch you fight, we're gonna play a game with our watchers and see what elements of their fight styles we can see when you compete in the ring. If we see any sneaky moves that you do in there, that's kind of like a nod to one of the guys that you name. Of those guys that you name, are there some moves that you like to do that's kind of paying homage to one of them?
I probably at all those guys I probably watch the most is probably Pernell Whitaker and Terry Norris. I watched a lot of Terry Norris fight. I think my style, because he was a boxer, but he was aggressive too. He was a boxer culture, and a lot of times he get into fights, so he makes the fight tougher than it needs to be, even though it's easy to outbox his opponent. So I think me and his style probably go together more than the rest of the guys on the list.
All right. Before we wrap up, okay, I got a little challenge for you. I know you are a Game of Thrones guy. Can you recap last night's Game of Thrones episode in 20 seconds or less?
20 seconds or less.
You got to do it in 20 seconds. Go.
I guess the shit getting real.
There it is. Ding, ding.
It's about to get real.
And lastly, before you headed out to Jamaica. Last time we talked to you, you were out there. You were telling us, you were singing the praises about how good a cook you were, and you told us you were a better cook than Chris Algieri. So now that you have gone to Jamaica again and got some cooking in, have you added something new to the cooking, the Spence cooking, the cookbook, that you can say that you're really good at now?
I'm really good at jerk chicken now. Like I'm learning how to cook it, like how they really cook it in the island, on the grill. So they're about to open up a jerk chicken shop in Dallas. So I'm getting really good at that. Yeah.
I think it's great that you're so connected to your Jamaican
real jerk chicken too. Real jerk chicken, not the restaurant jerk chicken.
Okay, well, what we need you to do is bring us some. Bring us some. Next time you're going to be at a fight that we're going to be, just put it on the plane, put it in some foil, and just bring it for your girls, RB and J.
I got you. I'll put it in the cooler.
All right, cool. Oh, one more question. What's going on with you and Demetrius Andrade? We heard kind of in the air, you guys are kind of low-key beefing. We know Andrade likes to pop up on people at press conferences and on Twitter, and you are a low-key guy. Is there anything going on, or can you confirm this rumor that you and Andrade got a little under the radar beef going on?
No, it wasn't nothing on the radar. I mean, one of those reporters said that he said, I guess I was gonna lose to Kell Brook or something like that. Kell Brook was gonna beat me because I was inexperienced.
He did.
And then he said something about man, I don't know about some Texas fighters, man. They've been knocking people out. I don't know what they I don't know what they taking down there in Texas or something.
Oh.
I guess we were trying to meet Jamel and Jamal. So then he came out and said he didn't say that, and then I seen him at the Adrian Brown and Mikey Garcia fight. He pulled me to the side, said he didn't say all that. It was a misunderstanding and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, cool.
All right, Errol. Well, as usual, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. We want to talk to you again when you finally make your next fight announcement, and good luck to you. We'll be looking for our jerk chicken, and just make sure you bring it next time we see you.
I got you. All right.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Because the right gift can speak volumes. For home, for fragrance, for great body products, think for Alma.com. Offering you the finest products for any and every occasion you can imagine. Say you care the right way and search through our catalog of more than 800 products, from tasteful jewelry to great leather goods. So remember, when you think gifts for any occasion, think foralma.com.
All right, and we are back. Go ahead, RV. We hyped today.
That sexy commercial.
Sexy ass commercial.
Right. We have about 10 minutes left. We still have some word on the curb to dish. We got some in case you missed it. But first, we want to talk about a really hot topic that came out a couple days ago. Amir Khan. Anybody Khan, get it, okay? He got on his Twitter the other morning, and he announced to the world that his wife has been cheating on him with no other than heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. He went full Robert Kardashian. Mm-hmm. He was putting up screenshots. How about the girl had him in the phone as Ghost?
Man, leave Amari Hardwick out of this. Don't be calling him Ghost. Man.
So I don't know why any man, Jay, would ever even talk about that publicly. Like, that's the ultimate sin. Like, even as a man, like your manhood, you don't publicly announce that your wife's been cheating on you, putting up videos. He said he wasn't hacked. Last night he was putting up videos in the club with other women. Anthony Joshua, I thought he was hilarious, Jay. What was your oh, my God, got to talk to us about what Anthony Joshua did.
Anthony Joshua, y'all know I love Anthony Joshua. I'm not even going to front. If you know me, you know I get down with AJ. But anyway, so Khan goes on his rant. Clearly he wasn't on Twitter the day that Robert Kardashian took his L on Twitter when he tried to air out Blac Chyna and ended up playing himself. So like RB said, he put all the stuff out there. Anthony Joshua takes to Twitter and responds to him with the Shaggy, "It wasn't me," a clip from that video, and then follows up and says, pretty much all jokes aside, I hope they can work it out. Besides, I like my girls BBW, to which I replied, hey, boo. And we know.
Uh-oh. Jay, did we lose you? Uh-oh. Can't. Jay, you're breaking out really bad right there. No, we missed everything you just said. I could hear you now.
Okay. Well, anyway, like we know, so like I said, Anthony Joshua said, all jokes aside, he hopes that they can work it out. Besides, he likes his women BBW, to which I responded, hey, boo. And again, Anthony Joshua, hey, boo. Khan's wife is anything but BBW. She's very, very slender. And he's just taking the high road and just laughing about it. Whether he did or he didn't, we'll never know. But we know Khan is out there trying to get his life. He's posting videos, like RB said, of him in the club with chicks, playing I Don't Fuck With You in the background. Khan, you ain't even got to do all that because we've seen your PP on the internet. So we know you get it in with other women. You don't have to convince us. We already know. But just take your L in private. Take your L in private like you should take your fight call-outs. Take them in private because good comes out of it when you get too live on Twitter.
Yeah, well, after he goes on Twitter and he puts it all out there, in the next breath, he stays talking very delusional about boxing. So he's like, the next interview he does that day, he's like, Mayweather-McGregor's going to be a shit fight. I'm like, oh, my God, and then, I'm putting everything behind me. I'm getting back to the top. I want only big fights. And I'm like, big fights with who, sir? Like,
right.
Khan will be Khan. Anybody could get it. Who's going to check me, boo? I actually really love him because he gives us so much to talk about. But anyway, Jay, let's go on to In Case You Missed It. There's a bunch of stuff that even flew over my head last week. Bring us up to speed with In Case You Missed It.
All right. In case you missed it, I'm going to try to run through this quick because we've got 7 minutes and we got word on the curb to dish. Tickets for Mayweather-McGregor on closed circuit tickets are available. Tickets for closed circuit viewing are $150, which does not include applicable fees, and they are on sale. You can get a party package that includes food and beverage options at select viewing locations. I highly doubt for the $150 you're going to get food and beverages. I think the $150 is just for a seat. So if you're going to do that, you might as well watch the So $150. Let me keep my personal opinions out of that. Also, in case you missed it, I saw this one this morning. Kell Brook, speaking of Errol Spence, as we just had Errol Spence on, Kell Brook apparently was getting a little too wild on a flight from Liverpool to Barcelona. Other passengers say that he was on the plane drunk. Him and his boy got on the plane with a bottle that they bought in the airport, and they were just two live, baby, on the flight. Passengers say he was smoking in the bathroom. So Kell Brook is out there acting a fool. Errol Spence must have took his soul because he is bugging out on the airplane. So that was according to the UK Daily Star, out there tripping. Also, in case you missed it, Miguel Cotto told ESPN Deportes on December 31st that will be his last day as a professional boxer. He says, I've been enjoying boxing a lot. It's my last year in boxing. It's time to do other things. December 31st, 2017 will be the last day of Miguel Cotto as a professional boxer.
And you know what, Jay? Love him or hate him, Miguel Cotto has given his life to the sport, and he carried that island on his back after Tito Trinidad exited out the game. So love him or hate him, you've got to give Miguel Cotto his respect. End of story.
Definitely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I got nothing but love for Miguel Cotto. Also, in case you missed it, Caleb Plant versus Dominic Wade. What? These two are beefing on social media. If you want to get your kiki on this morning, head on over to Dominic Wade's Instagram account and look at the picture that he posted of Caleb Plant, who had been calling him out, and just go read the comments. Make yourself a cup of coffee, grab a Coke, roll a blunt, whatever you like to do, and just read the comments under the picture on Dominic Wade's Instagram account. Very funny stuff, and it's a very makeable fight. Put it on Toe-to-Toe Tuesday. Have Caleb Plant girl Jordan Hardy do the in-fight interviews and sit back and kiki. That would be pretty fun. In other retirement, it is retirement week here. We better make them some pins to commemorate their service to the sport. Vladimir Klitschko announced that he is also retiring, so there will be no Anthony Joshua fight. I'm really mad about that because that fight would have been in Vegas, which means I could have stalked Anthony Joshua up close. But look at Klitschko just ruining it for everybody. And by everybody, I mean me. So there's not going to be a Klitschko-Joshua rematch. So happy retirement to him. Whether another one, if you love him or hate him, he contributed to the sport. He held the title for a long time. He wasn't a personal favorite of mine like many other people, but I just had an immense respect for Vladimir Klitschko. So we wish him well in his retirement. And he's dope because his daughter's name is Kaya, like my daughter's name is Kaya. So he's cool for that. Also, in case you missed it, my God, we probably could have a whole show about this. Paulie Malignaggi quit Conor McGregor's camp. We've seen the drama going back and forth on social media this week with the picture released with Paulie laying on the canvas. He says he was shoved. McGregor's cameraman said no, he got knocked down. He was only brought in to the McGregor camp because he had been talking shit about McGregor. McGregor said, bring that boy to me. And now he got played out like a side chick. They didn't even send no Uber for him, I'm sure, to send him back to the airport. But so Paulie is out of the McGregor camp, and we just make our way waiting for August 26th.
And Paulie can't stop talking about this either. I mean, if you follow him on Twitter, you know, he's coming off a little, you know, I believe him. I'm sure that the picture was very, deceiving and maybe a little even conniving, but he won't drop this. I mean, it's all you're seeing on his timeline. So he's not feeling it.
Maybe he's getting paid per tweet. Also, in case you missed it, news, Juan Manuel Marquez is also retiring. I wonder if it's attached to the Cotto fight, because remember during our previous shows, we told you that they were examining a possible fight between Cotto and Juan Manuel Marquez. You never know. So Juan Manuel Marquez says he's also retiring, and another guy, great contribution to the sport. No definitive date has been set for him. I don't even know if it's official, but he will be retiring according to him. Also, in case you missed it real quick, Shannon Briggs finally admitted publicly that he took PEDs, and in other news, water is still wet. Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. And finally, a big card announced for Tucson. Hey, RB, over there in your neck of the woods, Arizona. Oscar Valdez versus Cervania, and Zerto Ramirez versus Jesse Hart set for September 22nd on ESPN in Tucson. And Felix Verdejo is eyed to return to the ring on the same card. I might have to come out there and be with you, RB. So that is in case you missed it news. If I missed anything, hit me on Twitter. And thanks for listening. Back to you, RB.
That is a huge card for Tucson. Tucson is such an untapped boxing market. I mean, that Tucson's going to be insane in September. So if you are in Arizona or anywhere close to even being able to drive here, you should get to Tucson, Arizona. All those retirement announcements, Klitschko, Nura, Bradley, Marquez, probably Cotto, Roberto Guerrero, Robert Guerrero a few weeks ago, Bernard Hopkins, Tyson Fury. So many fighters have been retiring, and it's going to make way for new stars like Anthony Joshua and Terrence Crawford and Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence and Lomachenko. And so things are kind of going to get exciting. Sad to see some of these guys go, but again, making way for new stars. I'm going to dish the word on the curb real quick. So if you've read that Anthony Durrell pulled out of the David Benavidez fight due to injury. I'm sorry, was it Andre Durrell or Anthony? Oh, God, I didn't do my homework. I'm embarrassed. One of them, Durrell brothers, pulled out of the fight that was supposed to happen with the young gun David Benavidez from Phoenix. So now he's being ordered to fight Ronald Breville, who is a Mayweather Promotions fighter. Word is that fight's probably going to happen on September 8th, and it most likely will land on Bounce TV. So we're going to get a Mexican versus like a Russian. I think that's what Breville is on Bounce TV. Okay? Brownsugar.com. If you don't have Bounce TV, you could do some brownsugar.com. And it was Anthony Durrell, by the way, that he was supposed to fight Anthony, not Andre. Another little piece of word on the curb. We told you guys last week that Nonito Donaire did sign with Ringstar Sports, and we felt that that was a really good move for him. They are planning to bring him to San Antonio really soon. And on that card could be Dorticos versus Kudrai Ashab. Do you know who that is, the Russian guy?
No,
anyway,
but he probably, if he's from the Ukraine, we know he's bad.
Yeah, I totally butchered his name, Kudrai Ashab. This is when we need Jake Donovan to do all of the pronunciations of these names. But anyway, that's it. It's a little bit dry on Word on the Curb today, but you heard it here. Benavidez Breville will probably land September 8th on Bounce TV. Jay, wrap us up with the weekend fight schedule.
Weekend fight schedule. It's going to be a dry weekend after having all the fights this past weekend that just passed. On Thursday, August 10th on Estrella TV, we got a Golden Boy card. Charles Huerta versus Miguel Gonzalez. That is the headline fight. It's an 8-round fight, so you can watch that. On August 12th on BN Sports, Omar Chavez versus Robert Garcia. Not the one we know, the other Robert Garcia. So they'll be fighting down in Monterrey, Mexico. And on August 15th from Tokyo on BN Sports Espanol on tape delay, Shinsuke Yamanaka versus Luis Nery for Yamanaka's WBC bantamweight title. And that is your weekend fight schedule.
All right. Today's show was brought to you by NationwideAutoWarranties.com, ForArma.com, and TheBoxingInsider.com. Thank you, Errol Spence, for joining us this morning. What a pleasure to always have him on. Make sure you visit badculture.net, ragingbabe.com. We appreciate you listening today. We will be back next Monday morning from 8 to 9. It's the Morning Punch-In Show. We're out.